Welcome back to Miniature Game Montage and another Flames of War battle report. We're back at the Western Front with a late war matchup between the Germans and the Americans in the mission No Retreat. The Americans bring in M4 Sherman Veteran Tank Company with 2 Sherman 75s at HQ, 3 Sherman 76s, 3 M5 Stuarts, and 4 Sherman 75s in the formation. In support, they have 4 M10 tank destroyers, 3 M7 priests, 4 3-inch tank destroyers, a grasshopper observation post, and a veteran rifle platoon with an added bazooka and LMG team. The Germans roll in with a Panzer IV Tank Company consisting of 2 Panzer IVs in HQ, 4 Panzer IV tanks, 3 Panthers, and 3 Panzer IVs. In support, they have 2 88s and a Panzer Grenadier platoon with Panzerfaust and the Lucky Card. Today's mission is No Retreat. The Americans are on the move and will be attacking today. As the defender, the Germans will have ambush and deep immediate reserves. The Germans will pick a short table edge to defend from, and both players, starting with the defender, will place one objective in the defender's table half at least 8 inches from the center line and all table edges. The defender will get to place 1 minefield outside the opponent's deployment area for each 25 points in their force, which we said was 3. The game concludes if the Americans can hold an objective at the end of their turn. The Germans will win if they end their turn on or after the 6th turn with no attacking tank infantry or gun teams within 8 inches of an objective. I'll be rolling up for the Americans today, and my son will take over the Germans. If you catch any mistakes in the game, please let us know in the comments below. We are not experts and may miss some things here and there. For us, it's all about having fun. I hope you enjoy this game of Flames of War, and Turn 1 is coming up next. And turn 1 upon us, the American starting step, they're going to roll up for aircraft on a 4+, and that's good. That Grasshopper is going to come in to spot for the artillery, and we're going to see some AA fire coming from these 88s. The American player potentially in a position not to observe with anyone else. 4 shots coming from these 88s needing 5s. There will be 1 hit, and a 3-up save will be taken from that Grasshopper. That is going to be good. Over on the American right flank, the M10 tank destroyers moving up behind the hedge. They do not have enough movement to get across that, however, so they will check up just short. The 76s are going to follow alongside them, being cautious of that minefield. Back in the center of the board, the Stuarts are going to move forward, and they do have enough movement to get over that hedge. A cross here order is given, and we will be taking this test. They normally cross on a 3, that cross here making it a 2, and they will successfully get over these hedges as they lie. We are playing these hedges as you have to be up against them to have line of sight. So as they jump over this first hedge, they would still be considered obscured from the Germans. That unit of 75s is going to move up to the hedge behind them, again being mindful of that minefield over to their right side. The HQ unit of Sherman 75s is going to tuck up behind the M10s. And then we're going to see the infantry move. They are moving forward, being mindful of that minefield to their left, and they're going to get alongside of these Stuart tanks. The 3-inch tank destroyers are going to hold firm, and we are moving into the shooting phase. The observer is going to be that Grasshopper. Normally has a skill of 3, but he is trying to range in over terrain, so it will be a 4. That first attempt is unsuccessful. We roll that up again, and the second attempt is good. That'll be a -1 to hit, and the priests are going to let loose with an artillery battery, raining down on these 2 88s. And they would normally hit on 4s, it will be on 5s due to ranging in on the second attempt, and double 6s. Each one will be struck, they will be pinned down, and they will get their 4-up gun saves to see if they can survive these artillery shelling. The first one is good, and we roll up for the second one, and that is a fail. We will go to a firepower test, which is a 3+, and that's going to be 188 destroyed. Next, the 3-inch tank destroyers take aim at the 88s. This is going to be 8 shots, and it should be on 7s here, as they're normally hit on 4s, long range 5, concealed 6. But these guys have no HE, which would add 1 as well, making it 7s. We played it as 6s by an accident here, but it will not affect the dice rolls, as both gun saves were good. And with that, the American turn is over. We flip over to the Germans, where these 88s are going to stay pinned down, and they will take a last stand. It is a 3+ with their special rule to see if they stick around. They are going to be good. German player rolls up for reserves, as they are immediate. On a 5+, someone can come in. They do not get that, and we go into the movement phase. German player electing to keep that ambush hidden for now. Those Panthers are still out there somewhere. We're just going to see these Panzer IVs tucked back behind line of sight as they wait to have some better shots. And a very quick turn for the Germans. The 88s are not eligible to fire, as they did fire against the Grasshopper and anti-aircraft. Turn 1 concludes as the Americans push forward, taking out 188 with the M7 Priest artillery battery. The Germans trying to buy some time for their reinforcements to get on the board and wait for that perfect time to pop an ambush. And with turn 2 underway, we are rolling for aircraft on a 4-up, and that plane will not come in. A little too foggy for the Grasshopper to come in this turn. The M10s take a crosshair order as they lie. 2 of those are going to fail. That crosshair upping their cross-check to a 2+. They are going to get along the hedges here to get line of sight, but will be unable to shoot this turn. The 76s are doing the same thing with a crosshair order. 3 dice coming out as they lie, and these will need 2-ups, and looks like all of these are going to be good. They come to rest against the hedge as well, hoping to get some halted shots potentially on the next turn, as they can see those Panzer IVs sitting behind the rock. The Sherman 75 HQ unit also taking a crosshair order, reducing that to a 2+. 1 is going to fail. The commander is going to make it across. In the center of the board, the Stuarts are going to just cross normally on a 3+, rolling these as they lie. Again, cross over that hedge in the front. That middle one is going to fail. The other 2 are going to successfully make it across and move into a firing position. The Sherman 75s will activate next, issue a crosshair order, rolling these up as they lie, and that reduces their cross-check to a 2. It looks like that back tank is going to get snagged up on the hedge, but the other 3 are going to make it across. They will then attempt to cross the hedge again, and needing a 2+ here with that crosshair order. The commander is up there, rolling these out. It looks like the one on the right is going to fail, and 2 will make it over successfully. The infantry squad is going to move up as well, trying to keep out of that minefield. They are splitting their forces to the right and the left. Shooting phase opens up, and the M7 Priest will repeat bombardment, raining down on that last 88, and rolling up for a hit on a 4+. That will be good. And a 4-up gun save will need to be taken here. That is failed. A firepower test will be taken, a 3-up. And those 88s have been removed from the board. With the American turn concluded, we move over to the Germans, and the ambush has been popped. We will roll up for reserves in the starting step, as well as a Panzer IV platoon is going to make their way onto the board, surging up the German right flank. The Panzer IIIs in the middle are going to do a blitz order on a 3+. That will be successful. They are going to scoot up to 4 inches and will bring their cannons into line of sight of those approaching American tanks. With a hail of fire, the lead Panzer IV will take 2 shots at his halted rate of fire, normally hitting on 4s. This will be concealed, so 5s, and both of those will hit, targeting those American 76s that can be seen on the other side of the hedge. In a front armor of 7, a 4 will be needed to tie, and that's not going to get it done. A 4 will be needed to tie for the other one. That's also going to fail, so we'll take firepower checks on those. The other 2 Panzer IVs are going to let loose as well. 4 more shots at their halted rate of fire. They do have range against them as well, so needing 6s. All of those are going to fail. But 2 firepower dice getting rolled out for the 76s here on a 3+. That is going to be 1 explosion, and the next one also needing a 3+. That's 2 Sherman 76s going up in smoke. Using stormtroopers, the Panzer IVs are going to attempt to execute a shoot and scoop maneuver on a 3+. That is successful, and they are going to tuck back behind the rocks. The Panthers that arrive out of ambush are going to fire as well at their halted rate of fire. They're going to be targeting those M10s just on the other side of the hedges, normally hitting on 4s. They are long range and concealed, so needing 6s. All of those shots are going to fail. That brings turn 2 to a close for the Germans. As the ambush was popped, Panthers come onto the board, not getting any shooting done from them, but the Panzer IVs popped out and did take down 2 of the Sherman 76s. The Americans continuing to push up the board. Will they try to go for an objective on this turn? We're going back to the Americans for turn 3. And first off, we will take a last stand test for this unit of 76s. They are good. We're going to roll up and see if the Grasshopper comes in, aircraft coming in on a 4+. That is going to be good, so the Grasshopper making his way back onto the board as well. And in the American movement step, the M10 is going to take a cross check on a 3+. He's going to get over that first hedge. The 75 directly to his left is going to take a cross check as well, also needing a 3+. And that is going to fail. Continuing in the movement step, we have the Stuart Tanks. They are going to move at tactical speed. We do have one of the tanks back here that will need to take a cross check, and on a 3+, that is good. The rifle platoon activates next, and they move tactical speed forward, being careful of that minefield, having to split to go around both sides of it. The Sherman 75 platoon will then move next. We do have a few cross checks to take. First, this first one is going to fail. The next one is going to roll up looking for a 3+, and it's going to fail as well. So the other 2 are going to go ahead and just move slightly. The Grasshopper is observing for the Priest artillery battery, and on a 3+, they will successfully spot. That does not go through, trying to range in now on the second attempt, which is good. The artillery shells will begin to fall as the Priest begin their battery. And this will be on 5s due to ranging in on the second attempt. There's going to be 2 hits. This does go against top armor. Top armor being a 1, we'll just need 2s here to tie. And rolling up for this first one, that is going to be just fine. Needing a 2 to tie on the second one. And that is going to be good as well. 3 is going to beat. The M10 tank destroyers are then going to fire, and they'll be targeting those Panthers down in the woods. Normally hit on 4s, long range 5, and concealment is a 6. We should have rolled 5 dice here. We accidentally rolled 6, and there will be 1 hit that goes through. The reason we should have rolled 5 is because one of those M10s was on their moving rate of fire. That die is assigned, and he is easily going to block this shot. Armor 10 at distance in the front. The lone 76 is going to try his odds as well against those Panthers, and those shots are going to fail. We move to the Stuarts, where 2 of these tanks are going to fire into the Panzer IV unit. This will be 4 shots, and they will hit on 6s due to concealment and stabilizers. They will get 1 that goes into the Panzer IVs. Front armor is a 6, so just needs a 2 to tie, and he easily beats it. And with shooting done, we move to the bottom of the turn, where the Germans will take over, first rolling up for reserves. And they are going to get 2 in this turn on a 5-up, so the HQ Panzer unit comes onto the board, as well as the Panzer Grenadiers. The Germans are now on the board in full force, and we do have a platoon of panzers that are moving up their right flank. Going to attempt a blitz maneuver here, which is going to fail with those panzers in the middle. They were looking to get their halted rate of fire while backing up to get better line of sight. They are just going to move at tactical speed to bring more guns to bear against more viable targets. Moving into the shooting step, we have these Panther tanks. He's going to target the M10s. And normally hit on 4s. That concealment and range will make this 6s. They all miss again. Shooting step continues. This platoon of Panzer IVs on the German right flank. We got a few that are going to fire into the Stuarts, but they do have different modifiers. This first just has a range modifier. They are normally hit on 3s, but it goes to a 4. That's going to miss. So going to use that lucky reroll here, trying to get a 4, and it still fails. Very important to take one of those Stuarts out, as one of them is occupying an objective. The next one fires in as well, and he is going to miss due to a concealment and range. And the other one will fire into the infantry, as that is all that he has line of sight to, and that is going to a 5 due to range, and that misses as well. Moving to the middle of the board, these Panzer IVs are going to fire 2 of their tanks into the Stuarts. They did fail a blitz order, so normally hit on 3. That failed order is a 4. That first one from the commander is going to miss. The next one is going to fire out as well, also needing a 4. Getting his halted rate of fire, however, because he did not move. And he will sink one of the shots into the Stuart, and that's going to go straight to firepower. So going to roll this up, needing a 3+. This is crucial that this tank is destroyed, and it is. So the Germans continuing to pound the Stuarts until they get the one they needed, and that objective is now freed up again. That last Panzer IV is going to take a shot down at the 76 here, and that is going to miss. In the last shot, we do have one of those Panzer IVs from the HQ unit drawing line of sight to an M10, taking a very long shot, and that is going to miss, and that brings turn 3 to a close. The Americans continue pushing up the board. They did get on an objective that turn with one of those Stuart tanks, but it was quickly removed by the Germans. The Panther tanks continue to hold that American right flank at bay, and we are moving to turn 4. Alright, and in the turn 4 starting step, we are going to need to take some last stands. We're going to roll up for the 76 right here to see if he stays on the board, and he will. We're then going to roll for aircraft on a 4+ to see if the Grasshopper comes in, and he does not. And in the movement step, the American Rifle Platoon will be the first to move. They are moving tactical speed up to the Allied objective. The Stuart light tanks are also going to move at tactical speed. They are moving ahead to either thwart the infantry moving forward or get side shots on those tanks. The 75s here in the middle are going to take some cross checks. We do get a fail from that one at the back. The one in the middle looking to hop over the hedge on a 3+, he will do so. And they are going to reposition at tactical speed. And we did get a rule wrong here, as these 75s are moving. This one that failed a cross-check, his activation should have ended. Instead, we still allowed him to reposition. He was still in command, but we moved him down to make sure that he was still in command. That should not have happened. At the bottom of the board, these 3-inch tank destroyers are going to move up 2 inches with a dash. They will not be eligible to shoot this turn. And then we go into the shooting phase, where a repeat bombardment is coming down. The HQ unit is spotting, but he cannot see that location, so they will be at a +1 to hit here, making it a 5. None of those hits will be successful, These M10s are then going to take aim at the Panzer IVs there in the middle. They can now see these guys, and they're going to rip 6 shots, normally hitting on 4s. Range will make it 5s, and there will be 1 hit that goes onto one of those Panzer IVs. His front armor goes to 7 at range, so he will need a 5 to tie, and he will beat it with a 6. The Sherman 76 is able to acquire the same target, firing at his halted rate of fire as well, 2 shots coming out from the main cannon, and those shots are going to miss. Moving to the center of the board, this lead Sherman 75 will take a shot at this Panzer IV, normally hitting on a 4, concealment to a 5, and stabilizer to a 6. He will land one of those hits. And that front armor of 6, he just needs a 4+ to tie the anti-tank of 10, and he is going to get that. I will roll a firepower test here on a 3+ to see if I can bail this tank out, and it is not successful. The Stuart light tanks that have driven into the enemy lines are going to open up their machine guns against the German infantry. This will be 10 total shots, and they are hitting on 4s. Several shots are going to hit the German infantry straight down in a line. We're going to roll up 3 up infantry saves. That stand in the back will be taken down. Rolling up these individually, that next stand is okay. The stand in the middle is going to take a wound. The next stand is going to be good, and that front stand is going to be good as well. That squad becomes pinned down, and we move right into the bottom of 4 for the Germans to see if they can unpin, and that is unsuccessful. Over on the German right flank, the Panzer IVs continue to push up the board, and they are getting closer to the infantry now, contesting that objective. The HQ unit is going to attempt a blitz maneuver, and that is going to easily pass. They are going to realign, occupying that back objective. The Panzer IVs in the middle are going to attempt a blitz maneuver as well on a 3+, and that is not successful. So they're just going to hang tight where they are. The German infantry are going to attempt to dig in on a 3+, and that is failed. In the shooting step for the Germans, the HQ unit is going to fire shells down at those Stuart tanks. This is going to be 4 shots. They're halted rate of fire as they did successfully blitz. These guys normally hit on 3s, and range takes that to a 4. There will be 1 hit that goes through, and we go straight to a firepower, which is a 3+. That lead Sherman will be taken down. The Panzer IVs in the middle are going to take shots at the Sherman 75 tanks creeping up the board, and it'll be their halted rate of fire, but they did fail a blitz maneuver, so they are going to need 6s with concealment and that failed blitz, normally hitting on 4s. The second one is going to try his luck as well. Both those shots are going to miss. The last Panzer is going to shoot down at the 76, trying to remove that unit from the board, and those shots are going to miss. Long range concealed, needing 6s. The Panther tanks are going to try their luck next, 2 of them firing down at that lone 76. Long range and concealed, 2 of those 6s are going to be good. His front armor goes to an 8 at range, so he could potentially tie on 5s. We roll both of those out. Both are going to fail, so we are going straight to firepower here, and this is going to be a 3+. And with one of those successful, that last 76 becomes a casualty. And that is officially one piece of the formation gone for the Americans. The last Panther is going to take shots into the M10s, once again needing 6s due to range and concealment. Back to the German right flank, shots are going to rip out from the machine guns, 16 in total, hitting on 4s. And a ton of hits come through. That is immediately going to pin that unit, and we're going to start rolling for saves. The lead squad is a casualty. These are going to be 3 up saves. The second one is good. The third one is good. Then looking for the 4th, which they are good. Bazooka team, this one is going to be important. That one is good. Another bazooka team behind them. We are too close for mistaken targets here. One of those bazookas is cut down, and then the machine gun in the back is going to be good. We have one other machine gun on the other side that is removed. And that brings us to the end of turn 4. There is a contested objective on the board as both the Americans and the Germans continue to fight over it. We'll have to see if that American infantry squad can hunker down and hold that objective long enough for backup to arrive. Turn 5 coming up next. A last stand for the Stuart Tanks, getting a 3+ due to blood and guts. They are going to be good. We're going to see if this American infantry unit can unpin, and they will. We'll then roll up for aircraft on a 4+ to see if that grasshopper comes back in. He does not. The American infantry are going to attempt to dig in, and they will successfully do so. The Germans will have to successfully pass the firepower tests in order to remove their teams now. Continuing in the movement step, we do have a cross-check coming here from the 75. He fails again, so the rest of these Shermans are just going to continue up the board at tactical speed, leaving him behind. The Stuart light tank is going to move up slightly as well as they form almost a wall, cutting the Germans off from the center. And we move into the shooting step where the 3-inch tank destroyers are going to fire down at those Panzer IVs. They do have them in range this turn. This is going to be 8 total shots, hitting on 5s due to range. And shots hit the deck, that is going to be 4. So a hit on each of the tanks. Front armor goes to 7. They need 5s to tie. That first one fails. Firepower test is good. One of those Panzers goes up in smoke. The second one, front armor of 7 against an anti-tank of 12, needs a 5 to tie. It is failed, and a 3-up firepower is failed. That tank will be bailed out. The next one we roll up, needing a 5. That one fails. 3-up firepower, and that is a cock die. That is another Panzer up in smoke, and the last one requiring a 5 in order to tie the anti-tank. And it's going to be good. That shot will bounce, but 1 bail and 2 destroyed Panzer IVs. A bazooka shot will come from the infantry team, firing at their movement rate of fire, so that it will add a +1 to hit, so requiring a 5 here, and that is going to miss. We move to the center of the board where one of these Sherman 75s will be firing into a Panzer IV, so it'll be 2 shots, normally hitting on 4s, stabilizers 5, cover 6. Those shots miss. The other 2, they have made it around into side shots against these Panzer IVs. So this will be 4 shots hitting on 5s with stabilizers. 2 of those are going to go through and find the mark. With the side armor just being a 3, it is impossible to equal the anti-tank of 10, so we're going to go right to firepower on a 3+. That lead Panzer IV is destroyed. And then the one in the back here looking for a 3-up. That is good as well. 2 of those Panzers are destroyed. As a quick note, we counted that tank as bailed out when playing the game. We got the bazooka skirts wrong and considered that 5-up firepower to be the same regardless of the team firing. The M10s on the American right flank are going to take no prisoners. However, they're going to fire both or all of their shots into those Panzer IVs, and they're hitting on 5s due to range. It's going to sink 2 more hits into them. Front armor goes to a 7. They need a 5+ to tie, and that one will be tied, so a 3-up firepower test to bail him out, which is successful. That next one also requiring a 5 to tie. This is the one that should be dead already, and he actually beats, so we're going to let that one go. The Stuart tank rotates his turret. He's going to fire into them as well. He has stabilizers as well, so he is going to hit them on 5s. 2 shots coming out. And that is going to be 2 hits from the Stuart. And they will need 4s to tie here going into the side armor. That first one is going to beat, and that second one is going to be good as well. And with significant casualties across the board, we move back to the Germans for the bottom of the turn. They're going to see if they can remount some of these tanks. And on a 3+ due to protected ammo, one of those is going to be good. The other one is good as well. They're going to hop back into those tanks, becoming operational. We're also going to roll 1 for the bottom here. This would put them in bad spirits if they did fail this roll, and it is going to be successful. All tanks have been remounted. The infantry is going to see if they can unpin, and that is not going to be passed. And we go into the movement step where these two operational tanks are going to pull up right in front of the infantry, contesting the objective here. Not really a whole lot of places that they can go at this point in time. The other tanks are kind of stuck due to that wall of Allied forces. The infantry, of course, being pinned down. We go into the shooting phase where they unload their machine guns, and they will get 3 hits onto the infantry, needing 4s, and we will take their 3-up infantry saves here. The first one is going to be good. The second is also going to be good, and the third on a bazooka, which could prove to be pretty important in this type of scenario, that is going to be good as well. The Panzer IVs in the center are going to fire down at these approaching Sherman 75s. And just some abysmal shooting, needing 4s in order to make a connection. They get nothing. The Panthers are then going to fire down into the M10s, attempting to just take them out of the game. Range and concealment requires 6s. There will be 1 that goes through, and we're going to go right to firepower on this one. And that firepower is failed. That will be a bailed out M10. The HQ unit is going to fire down at this lone Stuart. This will be 4 shots, which is their halted rate of fire, hitting on 3s. And all of those but 1 are going to connect. And then we are going to go straight to firepower here, just needing a 3+ in order to take out this last Stuart. And that is triple dead. That last Stuart goes up in smoke. And that is the end of a very quick turn 5 for the Germans. I think the writing may be on the wall in this one, depending on how the Americans' shooting phase goes. The Germans are not in a position to skirt around that American tank wall and contest that lower objective, the infantry remaining pinned down and unable to move forward. Turn 6 coming up next. Alright, and we're going to attempt to remount this American M10 right here, and that is going to fail. The roll for aircraft is good. We'll see the Grasshopper make his way back onto the board as well. So at this point, we know where the most pivotal part of this game is, and we are going to go ahead and skip to that. The American infantry in the movement step are going to forego their foxholes as they move into an assault range against these Panzer IVs. We will take a cross-check for this Sherman 75 that has been stuck on this hedge the entire game. He makes it over the first, and then he cross-checks for the second. He makes it over as well, so he is going to be able to join the rest of his platoon. That platoon is going to reposition slightly just to be sure that no tanks can squeeze through their lines. You can't move within 2 inches of an enemy. In the shooting step, the 3-inch tank destroyers, still drawing line of sight to these Panzer IVs, are going to let loose. They normally hit on 4s. Range makes this a 5. They will only get 1 hit. Front armor on this Panzer goes to a 7, so a 5 will be needed, and that is failed. A 3-up firepower is required and is successful. One of those Panzers goes up in smoke. The bazooka team is going to fire into that Panzer IV as well. He did come out of his foxhole, so he will be requiring 5s in order to hit on his moving rate of fire. That is going to hit. Bazooka has an anti-tank of 10 against that front armor of 6, and that is going to bounce. In the center of the board, these repositioned Sherman 75s are going to fire into this Panzer IV unit, and they are going to get 2 shots each, hitting on 5s due to stabilizers. 2 are going to go through, and with shots going into the side against the anti-tank of 10, there's nothing that can be done. We'll go straight to firepower. That first one is going to go up in smoke, and the second one will be bailed out. The M10's looking to finish the job as we have 2 of them firing down at those Panzer IVs, so be 5s due to range, and they're going to sink a hit into him, and rolling up on that armor save for the front, that's going to be failed, and a 3-up firepower is going to knock that tank out of commission. And with all of that done, it comes down to this. In the assault step, these guys are going to announce a charge into the Panzer IV, very thematically trying to occupy this objective. The Panzer IV is going to get defensive fire from those machine guns. That will be 4 attacks hitting on 4s. The dice coming out, that is going to be a total of 3 hits. And we assign those up, giving 3 up infantry saves. That first one is going to fail. The second is going to be good. And the third is going to fail as well. Those gaps will be plugged by others. We accidentally moved the machine gun team in. It should have been the bazooka, but we just want to kind of roll the dice here and see what happens. And we're hoping we got these rules right. We just let everybody that could take a swing take a swing. We know that the bazooka hits on a 5+, but we just rolled everything together. And we were looking for 4s. And then we let the tank roll saves, and if there's a 1 out there, then it would go to a firepower, ultimately destroying that tank. So the saves come out, and there is a 1 on the board, so a firepower test easily going to destroy this tank, and that is going to allow the Americans to occupy the Allied objective. So with a little bit of grit and determination, the Americans were successfully able to surge up the middle and the left flank, navigating the minefields. They were able to get on the Allied objective and hold it from the Germans while cutting them off, successfully pinning down their infantry and negating those deadly Panthers over on the flank. While we probably got some rules wrong, we certainly enjoyed this game of Flames of War. If you catch anything, feel free to leave a comment down below, as that will continue to help us improve with our games moving forward. I do hope you enjoyed this matchup. I hope to do some more Flames of War content in the future. Also, a big thank you to the 2022 Coffee Supporters Club. Your names are on the screen now. If you'd like any information on that, a link will be in the description below. As always, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, take care.